Okay. In Shechnarich Hilchis Purim, Hilchis Megilah, the way it's called Shechnarich, are the very, very last halachas in Shechnarich Rechaim, and it starts from Simin Taf Reish. To be precise, I would say Pei, all the way until Taf Reish Sadik Zayin. So there's a range of halachas that involve Purim, and my time limit is just a bit over an hour. So we're not going to cover everything, but we're going to cover some of the basic halachas that we need to know for ourselves, or Benegatim Iftzayim. Bichlalos, there's 4 key mitzvahs which involve Purim, and it's an easy way to remember. They all start with the letter Mem. The Rebbe once spoke about the significance of the fact that it starts with the letter Mem, and Mem Psucha represents Golus, and Purim is the Tipim Hapach Golus. We're not going to go down that right now, but if you want, you can look it up in the Sikha, in Tafshim Mem Tes, Sefer HaSichas Mem Tes. The 4 mitzvahs are Mikra Megilah, all of them listed in the Megilah. Mikra Megilah, Mishloich Manis, Matanis Leizonim, and Mishra Simcha. Of course, there's the natural stuff that we do throughout the day. When we daven, we add Alanissim, but that's not one of the mitzvahs of the day. That's like we have halacha we're supposed to mention. Me'ein HaMe'ura, B'chol Yom V'yom Ten Leim En B'Choisa. We learn it from a pasuk. We're supposed to mention the day when it comes to the day. Chanukah, Purim, Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh, Yom Tov, etc. If this is a bit difficult to remember, if you want to add a 5th mem, we could add the word malacha. There's the Isra of malacha. I would really put it under the category of Mishta V'Simcha, which is the type of Yom Tov that it is. So we're just going to try to go through the various different halachas in things that are Megilah Maisa. By way of introduction, Purim is in some ways more chamra than many other mitzvahs, more serious. It's what's called midivrei Kabbalah, at least according to some poskim. Midivrei Kabbalah, we have Deraisa and we have D'Rabbanan. Divrei Kabbalah is something there in the middle. Divrei Kabbalah means something which is in the Nevi'im, because all the mitzvahs of Purim are found in the Sefer Megillah Esther. So it's much more than a regular D'Rabbanan, and that could have some bearing on a bunch of different halachas. I'll give you right away an example, a case in point. The halacha is that a bar mitzvah b'achar min HaTorah is not really considered bar mitzvah. He's not chayav a mitzvah when he turns 13 min HaTorah necessarily, because we need to check him out to see if he has signs of maturity, shtei sayers. But we have a halacha called Chazaka de Rava. Chazaka de Rava means that the klal of Rava, he coined this klal, so it's named after him. But the Chazaka is that if a kid is 13, mistama, he also has the natural signs of maturity. And therefore he's chayav to do mitzvahs. Chazaka is a klal and kalata de kula. But Chazaka de Rava does not help when it comes to a mitzvah deraisa that he should be able to be mitzi someone else. So if you have a child who's bar mitzvah, 13 years old, you want him to go to the Amid? No problem. You want him to lein? Also no problem. You want him to do something which is a mitzvah deraisa and other people should be yotzei based on that, to write a pair of film? Lav dafki could do that. Okay. Pasha Zach is something that people are ma'ir. Let's not go into it, but in Alter Rebbe is mashma that he's not worried about it. In Alter Rebbe, in Hilchis Kris, Hilchis Shabbos. So, whatever. But some people say that Rabbi Mitzvah should not lein Pasha Zachar, yes, like you're saying. Now let's go to Kriyas HaMegilah. Kriyas HaMegilah, arguably, you can say that if it's Midivrei Kabbalah, more than a regular D'Rabbanan, then maybe a Bar Mitzvah boy shouldn't be lein the Megillah. And indeed, there are many persons that make a distinction. There's a Noid Behuda, Binyan Shleim. I don't want to go down the whole entire drasha right now. A lot of persons make a distinction between the night Megillah and the day Megillah. There's 2 chiyuvim. That in the Megillah only says once to lein the Megillah. It doesn't say you have to lein it twice. And there's Rais from the Rishonim, there's Sichas from the Rebbe like this, like that. Again, let's leave it for right now. But the argument is that by night is midrabanan and by day is midivrei Kabbalah. And therefore, a bar mitzvah boy who practiced the Megillah and he wants to lein once in shul, when should we give him to lein the Megillah? By night. By day, we rather not give him to lein the Megillah because it could be he cannot be mitzi unless we know he has signs of maturity. If he's nesmal iskan, if he has a full beard, then we could trust he's ready for shul bar mitzvah. But the average 13-year-old does not have a full beard. You could get him checked out, but that's not so pleasant. So, what do you do on Miftzayim? Obviously, it's better that he should go on Miftzayim and lein the Megillah for people than the person shouldn't hear Megillah at all. Because could be Megillah is not Divrei Kabbalah. Could be even if it's Divrei Kabbalah, you could have a Bar Mitzvah boy. Could be this Bar Mitzvah boy really is considered a gadol. We have so many different possibilities there. So if you have a guy in the nursing home who's definitely not going to hear the Megillah unless Bar Mitzvah boy comes, I'm sure you should get a Bar Mitzvah boy to read. However, if you have two people going in Mitzvah together, you have the older one and the younger one. So the older one should lein the Megillah by day. By night, it doesn't really matter. That's one example out of many examples where there's this shaila of Megillah having a stronger severity because it is Divrei Kabbalah. So now that we appreciate that, we have to understand when it comes to the mitzvahs of the day, we can't just treat them lightly. I'll give you another example. Avelis on Purim. It's a big machlokes if it is Avelis on Purim. The Mechaber Shulchan Aruch himself contradicts himself between Rechaim and Yeridea. In one place he writes one way, in one place he writes another way. The argument why there shouldn't be Avelis on Purim is that Purim is Simcha Purim is Divrei Kabbalah. It's a Chiv Divrei Kabbalah, and Avelis is Midrabanan. Well, not for the first day. So therefore, the mitzvah of Simchas Purim should outweigh Avelis. Again, that's just an example where Divrei Kabbalah plays an important role. So let's go through Al Seder of the mitzvah of the day. I'm holding in front of me the booklet with the halachas of Purim. I'm just using this as a guide. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be saying everything that it says over here, or what it says here altogether. It just helps me just stay focused. There's a box there with the halachas. Seder. So, going through Al Seder with the halachas. The time for Kriyas Megillah by night is Lachatchila from Tzeis HaKachavim, nightfall. Again, we go through this Miftzayim topic, question. It's late, they're changing the clock this Matzah Shabbos. You want to go Miftzayim, you go into a nursing home, it's too late to go to a nursing home to start laying the Megillah then, or to a hospital, to anything like that. So again, here we have to play what's going to happen if you don't go, they're not going to Megillah at all. So there's definitely a makom to start learning from Shkia. We're talking about the Rabbanan, by night it's for sure the Rabbanan, or more. So if it's the Rabbanan, we can already be making start learning from Shkia, because it's a Suffolk day, Suffolk night. There are poskim that say you're allowed to learn already from Plaga Mincha. Lechatchila, we don't rely on that. Mamish or Shas Achad Gadol. There's a minority opinion that says you can learn that. No, you can't with Tzayim. You might as well hear from Plaga Mincha, otherwise you won't hear at all. That's understandable. But otherwise, you really have to wait till Tzeis HaKachavim. After the fast is officially over by Tzeis. However, you're not supposed to eat before Kriyas Megillah, and really you're not supposed to eat before Kriyas Megillah by day also. And the place can actually ask the question, why is this more serious than any other mitzvah that we're so makbid not to put anything in our mouth? Derech klal, before mitzvah you're not allowed to eat, but you're allowed to put something in your mouth. What we call te'ima ba'alma. Te'ima normally means not a suda. The definition of a suda is if you're eating a kabeya of bread or cake, or drinking alcoholic beverages. But if you're just having a snack, not cake or bread, or even if it's cake, less than the kabeya, you're having some fruits, there's no problem. So why can't a guy after the fast at least have a coffee? The coffee is actually the example mentioned in the Poskim. In those days, they also had coffee. So a Poskim asked him, and how's it different than Ma'ariv every night? Look, there's coffee right there, right now. Some people didn't have Ma'ariv. Mitzvah says that I have Krishma. It's a good question to understand why it's different. A lot of different explanations are given. The most simple, easy understood explanation is if you were fasting all day long and you tell the guy you could have a coffee, it's not going to stop at the coffee. That's the pashta answer. Megilah, which makes an afkamina for those who weren't fasting, or for someone who lives in Yerushalayim who wasn't fasting either, because Tainus Sesta is not Erev Purim, or for the Megilah in the morning, which you're also not fasting. So Megilah in the morning, there's more room, also Chatchili you shouldn't do Te'ima, but there's more room to be lenient with Te'ima Ba'alma, with a Psa, a Bais, Star, and Davening, for those who are allowed to eat before Davening, because it helps their Kavanah by day. But by night, we don't eat anything till after Kriyas Megillah. Now, till when could you learn the Megillah? Till Aleis HaShachar. Some Lubavitcher Chassidim always like to do things the last minute. Not that there's a source in Halacha for this. In Halacha we have something called Zrizim Akdimul HaMitzvahs, but it could happen. Somebody, for whatever reason, didn't end the Megillah. It's unlike Krishma every single night. Ma'ariv, Krishma at least. Some place in Molch Shmoneh, you're supposed to say before Chatzos. And I know in 770 you can find me at 3 o'clock in the morning, but you're really supposed to say Shema. At least without the Birchas Krishma, Shema before midnight. It's a first Mishnah, Maseches Brachas, every little kid knows. But by Kriyas Megillah, there is no such halacha other than Zrizim Akdimul Mitzvahs. And 12 o'clock right now, we're going to change the clock, so it's going to be 1:05, let's say Chatzos is approximately 1:06. So it's 1 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Well, let's do before 1:06. Okay, I'll do it after 1:06. It's fine. We'll have it set up more properly. Not that you're supposed to put a mitzvah, but you're doing it for a good reason. The Megillah by day, you could start laying the Megillah from Eitz Hachama. I don't know when that is on Purim. Anybody know? I think it's 7 something. Huh? Doesn't look like we have any Nets people over here in this room. Baruch, yeah, 7 something, 7:15. Okay. So you can start all mitzvahs of the day. You'll the Eved, you could do it from Alois, but you have to wait till Netz Hachama. For those who are running to do an early mitzvah in the morning, till when could you lein the Megillah? Until Shkia. Again, you're not supposed to push off a mitzvah, but you could do it until Shkia. What about Bein HaShemashos? So Bein HaShemashos is a safek if you yotze the mitzvah. Especially remember what we said before, that Megillah might be medivrei Kabbalah by day especially, so you shouldn't run into what we call the safek zone after Shkia. But if a person didn't hear Megillah, and it's now 4 minutes before Shkia, she should start reading the Megillah. He's not going to make a bracha because he's not going to finish Megillah in 4 minutes. He has to finish the entire thing before Shkia to be able to make a bracha and to be able to be yotze properly. But if you know, otherwise he's not going to hear the Megillah, so lein after Shkia also. She'll say Sekhavim without a bracha. All these cases of times of Megillah apply to people who don't come to shul. Al Pidin, you're supposed to come to shul for Kriyas Megillah. You're supposed to learn the Megillah ba'asada. Even Kriyas Megillah bizmana, when Imam is learning on the day, there's shalei bizmana, people learn other days, which is not negay for us. But even bizmana, you're supposed to do it ba'asada al Pidin. And not only are you supposed to do ba'asada, there's a mitzvah called B'reiv Am, which is brought especially b'negayah to Mikra Megillah, the whole study in Sechus Megillah, Mevatl, the Kohen Mevatl, their Avodah, Levi Mevatl, whatever they're doing. Everybody's coming to hear Mikra Megillah, to hear it, according to many Mefarshim of the Gemara. Not they can hear the Megillah, they can do their own Megillah. They want to hear it, B'reiv Am. And the poskim say that if you have a bigger shul and a smaller shul, you're supposed to hear the Megillah in a bigger shul. That doesn't mean you should be Mevatl your minin kavua. If you have your shul is the smaller shul in town, there's another shul is a bigger shul in town, you shouldn't be mevatl the minin kavua in your shul. But a lot of shuls, they have to say that, you know, a lot of these big shuls, Al Derech 770, which you have a lot of side minyanim in all the side rooms. So to say that when it comes to Purim, then mevatl all the side minyanim. Because everybody should do B'reiv Am. I don't know, 770, Al Kapanim in the time of the main minyan, they try to be mevatl all the other minyanim. But it's a mitzvah B'reiv Am, rather than hearing the Megillah. You can, of course, you're allowed to be yotze Megillah at home. But actually, b'negayah to Megillah specifically, it's brought that in of B'reiv Am. Women and children are also chayav b'kriyas Megillah. Once children are the age of chinuch, which is a very difficult mitzvah to be the age of chinuch, to be able to listen to someone else talking for 20 minutes straight. Even adults have a hard time listening to someone else. But once a kid is able to, the age of chinuch is 2 things: side that he understands the mitzvah, but side that he actually could be mekayim the mitzvah. It's practically very difficult for kids to be mekayim the mitzvah. So if they're the age that actually could do that, you could train them in advance, you could talk to them about it. Certainly you shouldn't bring kids to shul that are going to disturb other people from hearing the Megillah, and that there's a very difficult age to know exactly what the borderline is. Because in Shulchan Aruch it says, Mechanchem es haktanim, there's a minig, it says, a minig that we used to bring ktanim to hear Megillah. So the person can ask, what means a minig? It's a chiv of chinuch. So one of the explanations is, the minig is to bring even those that are lo yigi l'chinuch. The chiyuv is, that's one. Another answer is the minig is to bring them to shul and not to rely on them hearing the Megillah at home. The minig is they should also be part of the B'reiv Am. It's another answer. But according to one answer, the minig was to bring even kids that are lower age. But you have to find that right age, because if they're too young, then they disturb Kriyas Megillah. So we're talking about a bit older than the age where they disturb Kriyas Megillah. They could sit calmly, but they're not yet of age to be able to listen. That's not all kids even have that middle age. Some of them skip straight into the age of the Gila Chinuch. But if they're such kind of kids, and that's, by the way, one of the reasons why we say the 4 psukim loud, that the kids shouldn't fall asleep. You want to keep the kids, you want to have a monotonous thing, straight, the whole Megillah straight, just reading. So we have a few minhagim lach, ish yudi, they wait for something special for the ish yudi, and of course we have the Haman that keeps them busy also. For Chabad Chassidim, it's not that busy, it's only ones with a title, but it keeps them a bit, maybe it keeps most of it, one has a title, one doesn't, and maybe keeps them busy too. When you get to the brachas on the Megilah, the Rebbe's minig was the Rebbe himself made a bracha on the Kriyas HaMegilah. You could Pashut see the Rebbe made a bracha on Kriyas HaMegilah. But you always have to be careful whether it's smart to copy the Rebbe's minhag. I'm not going to the sugya of Hilchas and Kashas, which is a very difficult sugya. I haven't developed my his Kashas enough level to know exactly when you're supposed to copy, not copy. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the halacha right now. So people often copy the Rebbe, they have no idea what they're copying. First of all, they don't know what they see. And assuming that they know what they see, they'll have to know when they should copy or not. I'll give you an example which I've used in the past. Unfortunately, it's a true example. I know someone who was a chashvid, had a chashvid, and he was sitting shiva, and he didn't rip his jacket. Sitting shiva after a parent, and he said, "I'm chest the Rebbe didn't rip his jacket." It's like a truth, but the Rebbe was sitting shiva for his wife. And halacha is for a wife, one doesn't have to rip their jacket, only their shirt. For a parent, they do have to. That's a straightforward din of Shulchan Aruch. But if the person doesn't know Shulchan Aruch and all he knows is Hilchas is kasha, so the Rebbe didn't do that. The Rebbe is. Chafei the Rebbe did, obviously. But he wasn't around Chafei. So the Rebbe made a bracha in Kriyas HaMegilah, his own bracha. The Yisod Shayr Shavayda brings already such a thing to make your own bracha. But the Rebbe also read the Megilah along, the whole entire Megilah of the Baal Torah. So now the person is going to say, okay, so I'll do the same also. The Rebbe knew that he's going to read the Megilah, he's not going to make any mistakes. Because if you make a mistake which changes the meaning of the word, then you're not Yotze Kriyas HaMegilah. So there's really no advantage in you reading from Megilah and you have a Baal Koreh who actually knows the words. Let's hope the Baal Koreh knows the words correctly. And you're going to read V'hama Nafal and instead of V'hama Neifel, you just kill the whole Megilah. Besides for the fact that if you're reading from Megilah, you should be careful that you don't disturb other people who are going to hear you and not hear the Baal Koreh. The Rebbe was in his place, after other people would hear him. So again, you have to put things in it's always good to have your own Kasher and Megilah there. And the advantage of that is, even a chumash for that matter, sometimes, for some people it's advantageous to have a kasha and Megilah, and for some people it's advantageous not to have a chumash. The nafkamin is if you know Kriyas HaMegilah or not. If you don't know Kriyas HaMegilah, it's very good to have a chumash. There's no mile in you having a Megilah. And what are you going to do with your chumash? First of all, you'll follow along. The halacha is that if you missed out one word, you're not yotza. If your mind goes off and starts thinking about someone else. Do you know someone that actually during Kriyas HaMegilah from Vayehi until the Chol Zari, his mind does not think about someone else? You know such a person? Hard to find such kind of people. So there's a kula that my grandfather brings in his sefer, which makes a lot of sense. That if you're actually following along, that doesn't matter if your mind is somewhere else. Because that means you're actually hearing. But if you're not following along, you're hearing or you're not hearing. Even when you get to Kiddush, Friday night, okay? Kiddush Friday night is not as long as Kriyas HaMegilah. But it's called a bracha arucha. It starts from a Gemara. The Gemara says about Malchis, Zechrenis, and Shofars. Why does everybody have to say themselves Malchis, Zechrenis, and Shofars, not listen to the Chazan? Because they're long brachas. And you might not pay attention. The Alter Rebbe brings when you get to Kiddush, Friday night, it's a long bracha. You should say word for word along with the person saying Kiddush. The minig is beferish not like that. People don't say word for word the person saying Kiddush. Maybe the Alter Rebbe was talking about that he's mashman Alter Rebbe because the person doesn't understand the language. So if you don't understand, you could say another answer. Depends if you're looking from a city now. No, Abdullah is not so long as Kiddush. It's two separate brachas. It could be the same as what applies to Abdullah. But a person understands Hebrew, it's a whole different story, then you can pay attention. But if you're looking from a siddur and you're following along, chances are that you're hearing what the person is saying. But you're standing by Kiddush and you're looking around the room, and this kid is starting to schlep them on the skirt, and this kid is starting to not touch the candles, whatever, you're already distracted somewhere else. There's a major advantage in following along from a siddur. So that's one advantage in having a Megilah, even a Chumash Megilah, I'm talking about and following along. The other plus of following along from a Chumash or Megilah is if you missed out some words. It could happen. The person can miss out some words. Either because the kids are making noise, there's a lot of times the nuna of the Haman, gets chopped off. And it's not only nuna, there's some Baal Korehs that have a knack for this. They know how to swallow the end of the words. So you can miss out words. Either the end or the whole word, or sometimes. So the halacha is that the Megilah, you don't have to say the entire Megilah from Yitreich HaKsav. As long as most of it was read Yitreich HaKsav, from the kosher Megilah, you're Yotze. Minority of it could be read Baal Peh. What if it's half and Place can talk about what if it's half and half. If you heard half from Megilah and half not. The famous Welt Kasha, the Megilah is an odd number of words. Whatever. I don't know what the pshat is when the person asks this question. What happens if it's half and half? But this brought such a discussion of Pesachim. If it's half and half, could be still not Yitzhak. I don't know what that means. I mean, there's a pashta answer. Megillah, if the Megillah is written b'Yavanis, because it could be it's right the Megillah b'Yavanis, and ends up being could be it's an even number of words. Who knows? So Nachzal Linyanedi, you're allowed to read if it's up to half. You're allowed to read Baal Peh, which is why also Megillah, which is it's very hard to find a pasal in Megillah. A word is missing in the Megillah. Big deal. The Megillah is not going to be pasal. The exceptions to that rule are if it's the beginning of the Megillah, if it's the end of the Megillah, or if it's an Inyan Shalom, missing out a whole ganze Geschichte, which according to some Poskim, as said as Bnei Haman is an Inyan Shalom. It's one big Inyan. But if it's not an Inyan Shalom, okay, you missed out a pasuk, no problem. Take your Chumash. Don't get a Megillah, no, your Chumash. Your Chumash, read it from the Chumash and catch up to the Balkaira. You know, something that's sitting with the Balkaira is reading fast, and you're a slow reader, and where were you? I have a minig. I read Megillah for my mother, and she had to say that it's like this. Whenever she thinks I'm ahead of, she doesn't know where I'm up to, she just gives a knock like that. That's an indication. I stop, wait, pause, and she catches up till where I'm up to. From where? From the Chumash. As long as it's not, now if you're reading very fast, the guy might miss ganze Brocken. That's a whole different story. It might be an Indian Shalom. So, now, if you know the text of Megillah, you know the words, it could be a difference of Mila, El, Mila, Ra, Nafal, Neufil, Yoshev, Yashav. There's so many words. Shoider, Soider. You don't know what you're doing. Read from a Chumash. If you know what you're doing, okay, that's the advantage. That's Megillah Ksheira. That's fine. That's perfectly legit. Some people have to use hearing aids. And hearing aids could be a shaila if a person is Yotze Megillah. Most hearing aids that come with batteries, could be a problem because you're hearing it through a machine and you're not hearing it the same like hearing through the phone. There were poskim that allowed these things, but the Rebbe writes that all the poskim that allow these things, Pashut did not understand the mechanism of a phone. The Rebbe gives an example. I don't know why this letter was printed in so many places, and each one of them chopped it up, so they're missing out the whole flow of the letter. This part that Rebbe actually writes in the letter, that part I found in one of the places this letter was printed. But ever since it's like listening to a recording of the Megillah. Not a live recording, I'm talking about to a tape recorder and listening afterwards. The same exact thing as listening on the phone. Listening on the phone, listening to a mic, listening to the radio, and listening with a hearing aid, which has a battery in it, is the same exact thing. So what's the eighth of a person that has a hearing aid? One eighth is you should stand in the Balkaira. Take off his hearing aid and stand in the Balkaira. The other eighth is let him hear the Megillah b'Yechidus, so he doesn't have to push and shul near the Balkaira, and then he'll stand right next to the Balkaira. And if he can't hear without that, so then he has a thing called a cheresh, which could be his bechlal part from Kriyas Megillah, or he could read himself. Whatever, that's something has such a shayla should talk to her. Ladies are not supposed to read the Megillah. I know today's day and age people are looking dafka to change the Torah and make women to be like men and men like women. So they have this thing that women are allowed to hear the Megillah. The Magen Avraham already brings from the Zohar that a woman is not supposed to read the Megillah. Then besides the Zohar in Yanam, there's also issues al pi halacha. There was a minig in private communities that whenever you read for women, they didn't make a bracha. And the reason they didn't make a bracha was because the woman didn't listen to the whole thing. What? The woman didn't listen to the whole thing. There was no such thing as a woman listening to the Megillah. So you're not going to make a bracha. The bracha they're not going to listen. So our women are Baruch Hashem educated, and some of them technically listen to the whole Megillah, but it's still totally not acceptable that a woman should read the Megillah. Of course, if a lady knows the Torah and there's no one else to learn for her, and it's 20 minutes before Shkia, yes, she should learn the Megillah. She's Yotze Kriyas Megillah like that. But to say that is that a man is supposed to be learning the Megillah, especially if the reason why people want women to learn the Megillah is to show that women are like men, that it's not only a shayla of mitzvah d'Rabbanan or divrei kabbalah Kriyas Megillah, it's a shayla of the Raisa undermines the entire Torah. That's quite a serious issue. Something called in Halacha lahitzim miliban shel tzedukim. We just finished all of this para aduma. That's basically what it's full about. So somebody's doing some dafka to show against Torah. That's a serious problem. Talking during Megillah. You allowed to talk during Kriyas Megillah? What do you think?
No, bracha.
Somebody spoke during Kriyas Megilah?
Megilah.
So there's a misconception. People think if somebody spoke during Kriyas Megilah, he's not Yotze. You're not allowed to talk during Kriyas Megilah. Depends. If the person spoke during Megillah's door reading the Megillah, he was Yotze. He made a hefsek, which you're not allowed to do, but he was Yotze. If you're the one hearing the Megillah, you're not Yotze for a simple reason. Not because he spoke. Because when he's speaking, you can't hear what he's saying.
What's the made a break?
If Baal Kodesh made a break, so it's taka issue of a hefsek, you're not supposed to talk. But no, let's say the Baal Kodesh stopped, and someone else is talking during Megillah, which he's not allowed to. You have often people. Chabad house is a Chabad house on the Parkway between Kingston and Brooklyn. It's a big, massive Chabad house, and when it comes to Haman, some people start making all kind of strange noises because Bechal is a klal. There are certain noises that are not considered talking. Nu, bum, 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 bum. Almost every single thing in the alphabet, in the alphabet, is already not together talking. So, and then you have some people go and stand there. Nu, schweig no, was lein. So, he's not allowed to do that. I'm not saying he's allowed to do that, but if he did talk, if he didn't miss out any words, he's Yotze Kriyas Megilah. Not only is Yotze Kriyas Megilah, but according to many poskim, as is mashmas takid halacha, you're allowed to even talk lechatchila if it's in Yoneh Shal Yom. Guy's going to stand in the middle of Kriyas Megilah and he's going to explain the Megillah. No problem. There was a minig in certain circles, in Munkach, and maybe other circles. So when it came to Vayislu, it's a beautiful minig. And let's not introduce him in 770. And Vayislu, somebody starts singing again. Exciting niggin. And not only that, the Minchas Elazar would say quietly, B'shas Ma'aseh, Kein Yovdu Kalevecha Hashem. Now that's not a hefsek, because in Yoneh Shel Yom, he's talking about Kriyas Megilah. Do you know the Yehuda Paskins that if there's a Levana the night of Purim, and they weren't Mekadosh Levana yet, so you should go Bein HaPrakam and go be Mekadosh Levana and come back in. Now again, I'm not trying to say you should talk during Kriyas Megilah. You're not allowed to talk during Kriyas Megilah. But in terms of someone have to hear the Megillah over again, it's not true you have to hear the Megillah over again if a person is talking. If a person misses out a word, so there's a problem. You have to hear again from that word onwards. Because you can't lein the Megillah Mafreya. But if a person doesn't know if he heard a word or not, if he's OCD, then he's not included to hear again. If he's not OCD, so he has a genuine suffix now. The person has a suffix. Did I hear a word or did I not hear a word? Or, so, if it's a suffix, she'enei shakel, you could assume a person heard the word. But if it's a suffix shakel, the equal chance, maybe I heard it, maybe I didn't hear it. So here at the pen, he goes back to the same thing that we said before. If it's by day, where the chiyuv is, a chiyuv medivre Kabbalah, strong chiyuv, you can actually hear it again. You can't make a brach on it. If it's by night, it could be mekel. And if it's a word that b'chlal doesn't affect the meaning of the pasuk, there's another room to be mekel, because according to many poskim, he's yotze even without that word. And if it's a woman, their chiyuv is a chetchila medivre Rabbana, both by day and by night. So for sure she can make it if she's misupik. If she's sure she didn't hear a word, you got to read again from that word onwards. One more thing about Megillah, we'll move on. There's many other things we have to talk about. If a person misses out part of a word, so it depends. If it's a word that it changes the meaning and we miss out the end of the word, by the way, it's not only a shayla for Megillah. You have the question about Kiddush, you have the question about Abdullah. I'm not with Kodesh. Hey. You made the word L'chayl. It happen. So everybody already starts saying Amen. You know in shuls when the chazan goes, Baruch Hashem Kadesh Yisrael Vazman. The Amen was said way before Mekadesh Yisrael V'yem Hazikaron. Yeah? So there's some chazanim that are very makbid in this, and they go, Mekadesh Yisrael Hazmanim. That's how they finish the bracha. So people shouldn't say Amen when before you finish. Al pi lach, you have to say Amen when you finish the bracha. But people miss out then. So if it's like a terrible thing that there's nothing to be yotze over there. There's Kiddush now, though. What's the problem? Very priagafen, missed out the noon. So al pi din, if the word changes its meaning by you not hearing it, I'll give you an example. Matanas lev yoinim. And you don't hear the mem of Matanas lev yoinim, what does that sound like? Lev yoini. that means my poor person. That's a different meaning. Lev Yonim means poor people. That's not a problem. But if he doesn't hear the nun of Haman, okay, it's the name Haman. We know it's Haman. You didn't hear the nun. Okay, let's. So if a person starts having his OCD concern, maybe I did hear the nun, didn't hear the nun, lazap, to the same. Okay, let's move on to I'll say one more thing about Megilah, move on to the halacha of the day. The Magen Avraham says that if somebody in the middle of Kriyas Megilah, the Baal Koda, starts getting stage fright, I don't know what happens to him, and he can't lean any further, someone else takes him over, the next person has to come and lean the Megilah from the beginning. They pass the Magen Avraham. Massive Chiddush. A lot of people have questions on the Magen Avraham. The nafkamina is, I don't know if people get stage fright in the middle of Megillah, but in Yom Mitzrayim, you think it might be easier, okay, you start, not finish. The arrangement will make. So according to the Magen Avraham, this could be a shayla. The Magen Avraham only talks about if the guy is nishtatik, if you can't continue. He doesn't talk about if you plan to divide it like a tefillah. Could be he would be Megilah about that, because this guy can't talk anymore literally. I mean, we just decide to divide it. So if there's a need from a time for whatever reason, okay, there's enough room to be Megilah in a certain circle, which actually this was the minig. The minig was in certain Chassidish places. They had divided Kriyas Megilah into different people. So there's definitely room to go along with that. And in fact, a very strong raya that the minig is not like the Magen Avraham is. If people miss out words in the Megillah, what do? They read themselves from the Chumash from Megillah. So how many people are reading the Megillah? 2 people. And you have the Baal Koda, who is waiting till Pasuk Yud Zayin, and you're waiting Pasuk Yud Zayin, and then he's waiting from Pasuk Yud Ches. That's what happens when you miss out a word. So you clearly see that we're not keeping this Chumrah. You have to make some type of distinction. No, the Magen Avraham holds you not allowed to do that either. So if there's a taka need to divide him to have 2 people in the Megillah, you can do that if you have to. Let's move on to the other mitzvahs of the day. We said if we go, let's say the mem, there's mem from Mikra Megilah, moving on to Matanas Lev Yonim. A question which I get every single year, including this year many times, which I never understand the question. I think it's even on the list of questions for tonight. What's the minimum for Matanas Lev Yonim? Nobody ever asked me what's the minimum for Shalach Manos. Why that's what's the minimum for Matanas Lev Yonim? And what am I yoitza with? So today the person asked me this question that I've come out of a chuppah. The person asked me this question. I asked him, "Was sam nach kemin wie viel is the minimum?" He said, "Nein, ich will geben Menschen auf 15." I said, "Okay, finally I understand where you're coming from." The Rambam paskins mutav la'adam laharbois b'matanas le'av yonim, but all these mitzvahs says laharbois. There's a mitzvah to laharbois b'sudas Purim. The mitzvah kol ha'marba l'shloich l'reim ha'reizim meshuvach b'mshalach manos, and the mitzvah laharba is matanas lev yonim. Which one is better to be marba? Zog the Rambam in the end of Sefer Zman, Megilah, better to be marba matanas lev yonim. So what does that mean in practical terms? I mean, there's many ways I understand the Rambam. The simple explanation is how much does this Purim cost you? How much does shalach manos cost you? Good. Matanas lev should be more than that. And he speaks of Olam Hafach, Shalach Manos. It's nothing with Shalach Manos. It has to do with cultural debt owing to people, whatever, all kind of theme characters, v'chul v'chul. That's what Shalach Manos has to do with. And Matanas Lev Yonim is like sort of, yeah, okay, there's a kuppah, yeah, 5 cents, okay, each one. And so the question is a difficult question. Some way people have that attitude. In some places they made a takana, and when Hagi Amsterdam they made a takana, you shouldn't send more than 3 minim to Shalach Manos. It just got out of hand. I wonder what they would do if they'd be around today. They made a takana. Lo yesem gimel minim. The Rebbe sent to 3 people. The Pasha at the time why the Rebbe sent to 3 people is what he said in the Hanukkah also is because Alpidin only supposed to send to 1, but it says the mitzvah be marbe. So how do you show you being marbe? Instead of saying to 1, he sent to 3. 2 is just 1, it's just 3. In fact, when they get to an oval, it says he's supposed to send only to 1 person, and then some to Menam Rottenberg sent lebezoi gimel anashim. Except it's bezoi gimel, because you want to do the union of being married, even for an oval, okay, well then be married, but not more than that. I'm not suggesting people should start insulting people and not sending them shalach manos. That's also a problem. But definitely the focus should be on matanas lev yonim. So the minimum, the minimum is a pruta. And if you check the price of silver today, I didn't, but if you checked it, it's pretty low. And I would guess, I'm just throwing a guess over here based on last time I checked, it's probably less than 3 cents of pruta. Which is 2 evyonim, each one, a nickel, should be matanas levyonim. But the person that say you're supposed to give him enough money, it's supposed to be a matanas mechubedes, nobody's on the way to give him a nickel. The person that say you should give him enough money to be able to buy a sudas purim. And then again, remember, we have the Rambam that says it's better to do that, much more shalach manas and sudas purim. So we definitely shouldn't look out to try to cut out matanas levyonim. Besides for the fact that it says that purim is another din, it's brought to shulchan, not just it's a chiddush minig. Well, pashut yad, which means in addition to matanas levyonim, it's lav dafke din matanas levyonim. So din in dinei simchas purim. Not matanas levyonim you've done. Now there's another gather called simchas purim, kol pashut yad. Ein medaktik memories purim. You don't ask, yeah, nish. And according to some Rishonim, kol pashut yad means afilu goyim. I feel that much. Huh? They know that there's Rishonim that say kol pashut means even goyim. Even if they don't know, mazla yichazi. So kol pashut yad, ein medakim, we don't check. If somebody comes to town, he says hal bishuni, kasuni, hachiluni, depends. For clothing, you check. For eating, not. There's none of these rules. Customized purim, you give people money. The minig is also said to give to Malamdim, to Rabbanim, to Chazanim, there's a Negilah here. To Shamashim, is such a minig that's brought on the Peskin. To Moistus, Einayim Nesuas, Ludmei Purim, yeah, there's such a minig. But that's not Matanas Levyonim. Unless they really are Levyonim. That's not Matanas Levyonim. Matanas Levyonim means someone who's taka Kipshuta in Evyon. And you're not supposed to give it for Meiser, the minimum that means you shouldn't give for Meiser, and you're supposed to do it for Shkia. So many times you sit by Sudas Purim, and you just ask the question, try this. It's like asking, I'll tell you how many kids have lead in Sefer Torah. So try, and you Sudas Purim and ask, who didn't give Matanas Levyonim? Shalach Manas, they did. Youth Megilah, they did. Mishta v'Simcha they're doing right now. What about Matanas Levyonim? It's a basic mitzvah. And why should Matanas Levyonim anyhow be delayed till the end of the day? Nachashal, the Rebbe right after Kriyas Megilah, the Rebbe went and wrote out checks Matanas Levyonim. I mentioned before the Minchas Elazar, his minig was before Minchas Megilah he did Matanas Levyonim. Okay, maybe there's a slot to do it after Megilah, so the Shechianu should go on Matanas Levyonim. So why should he wait for it? It's a mitzvah first thing in the morning. Why do we do after Kriyas? Davening after Shachris, Matanas Levyonim. Instead of waiting and say, oh, it's Shkia, it's not after Shkia. So what should I do right now? Okay, you don't make a bracha, it's okay. So you're not going to make a bracha in Matanas Levyonim. You can do it till Seisek Chavim, you still, misafik, you might be. Right? So why should you push on Matanas Levyonim all the way to the end? Huh? Okay, so there are places that say that Evin means Aniyim Merudim Muflagim. Mamish, people that have garnish, Evin is even less than Ani. Al Pidin, that's not Kacha Evin. Evin means someone doesn't have enough money to support his family, himself and his family. And there are a lot of people.
Party and there's no one around the table, that's nothing. Like for example,
no, so then you put it aside, like it says in Shulchan Aruch, you put it aside, which you could do that if you don't have an Evin. You could put it aside and put it into 2 pushkas, 2 cups. One for one Evin, one for another Evin, and I'll have to put them and give it out to them. It's better to give it to them on Purim. You can't. So you could do that, but sorry? You could do it online also. I mean, I don't know when they're giving it out online. Basically, if you want to have the advantage, some of them advertise that they're giving it out on Purim, whether it's true or not true, and how much commission they take. Whatever. I'm not commenting about that, but most of these online Matanas Levyonim, out of the money they're giving to Matanas Levyonim, you have 5 cents. Sheer Pruta is maybe going to get to the Evyon. But you have another people that are simply sitting in 7 cents, they're Pashta Evyonim Kipshuta. Enough money to support people. I know who has money to support a family nowadays. It's not hard to find. Yeah. I'd rather not take questions. I'll take just 2 questions and we'll move on. Yeah.
If someone give away all this money, become an Evyon, that everyone else, everyone else to give.
Only if he's from the Litta, from some Snagisha circle, maybe he should do that, but not. Yeah, if it's not, they take a certain guy for before the Shoshana. You know, they take him and we put him aside. We make sure he should stay in Evin all the way until Purim, so we should have my Evin. What's the begging on my name from the Evin go? It's 9 Evin. Save them. Yeah.
If you give money to a Moishe,
you're not yet Matanas Levyonim, only to Aniyim. There is an Indian to give to Moises. There's such a minig. Like I said, there's a minig to give to people that do Avodas HaKodesh, to Malamdim, to Moises. There's such a minig. Einayim Nesuis, it says they're looking forward to this money, but it's not Matanas Levyonim. It's a good part of the Kol HaPashid Yad. And let's hope that we come to a time when we have the shaila of what we'll do matanas l'biyim lasad lavi, because we'll be mekuyim efes kliyeh b'chayevyin, and we'll worry about it. I'm not going to say we'll worry about it then. Let's worry about it now. Next mitzvah, also important, and equally important, because all mitzvahs are very important. We should spend more effort on, like we said, matanas l'biyim, shalach manas. So I mentioned before that if people that do matanas shalach manas as a part of a cultural thing, and he's going to be insulted, and I gave him, and then I gave him, there's all this kind of stuff. There's an interesting chikira in Paiskin. There's a meaning that you give back shalach manas. It's such a meaning. It's not just coming from Baruch to Crown Heights. It's actually brought down. There's rise from the Gemara for such a meaning. And there's a few svaras for the reason for the meaning. Where the meaning came from. But some want to argue that if you're giving back shalach manas to someone, you're not going to get shalach manas. It almost becomes like a chayv. You have to give back, because that's in the Gemara we have a concept called from the Rambam also. Nowadays it doesn't exist anymore, called shushvinas. Shushvinas means that the meaning was that you come to my wedding and pay, and I have to come to your wedding, give a gift, you have to give back. It became so binding, this meaning, that you could go to a Beis Din and demand, 1 second, I came to his wedding. And that was part of the simcha, and I paid. Why shouldn't you pay for me? You could even demand in Torah. Some culturally binding customs become mandatory. So there's an argument that if you give back shalach manas to someone, could be not yitzah. And indeed, actually, what's the idea of shalach manas? Lahar b'sreyes, to show friendship. So you go to a person that you're not mechuyev to him. He didn't give me. I don't have to give him. I'll just give him because I want to give him. L'shem is giving. It's like a beautiful minig, but you should give shalach manas l'shem shalach manas. And you want to be mekayim minig hadmud. It says it's not haydav without, and of course not an aveda. You want to give to 3 people like that. 3 people. You want to do Kohen Levi Yisrael like the Rebbe did, even though the Rebbe wasn't mefarsim that he gave to Kohen Levi Yisrael, so for sure not haydav without him. You want to do that? Also not a bad idea to Kohen Levi Yisrael.
He gave to a company, after basket, or online to a candy store.
Like I said, if you're talking about commission over there, I know a lot of the shalach manas.
Order online to shalach manas.
This doesn't make a difference who's being a shliach. A lot of times, any shliach, like Alpidin, you don't need a shliach for shalach manas. You can send it directly, but the minig is to use a shliach, and the minig is to even use katanim shluchim, even though normally katanim can be a shliach. So you want to call a company and have them do shalach manas, and they want to have 20 people you tell the shalach manas. However, half of these shalach manas are not food, so it's not shalach manas. But you have to be food, and food has to be your shalach manas. So 25 people are shipping in the shalach manas. Each one has to have 2 foods. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not happen. There's an easy way of doing shalach manas, just doing shalach manas. Let me talk about it. It's just easy if I go through Al Seder. I said before that there's a minig that you give back shalach manas. I saw one explanation for this minig that b'chalal we have a shayla if we say chazak shliach chayse shlichusay. How do you know I gave shalach manas to a shliach? How do you know if you gave it to him? By the Reises, we don't say chazak shliach chayse shlichusay. And since shalach manas kuvis midivri kabbalah, so it's like a deraisa, so maybe I can't rely that the shliach gave it to him. That's where the minig is. He gives back shalach manas. I see the kid coming back with shalach manas. I know that shalach manas made a deal. There's also a minig by shalach manas that you don't say thank you for shalach manas. The minig is brought down from the leket yeshuv. Leket yeshuv goes back to the time of the Trumas Hadeshin before the Shulchan Aruch. The Ksav Yad was only printed recently in the last few hundred years, but the author, it's on the time of the Trumas Hadeshin. If the Rebbe said about the sefer, that the sefer is a chassid schreibt sein Rebbe's menhagim. Schreibt alles. That's what the Rebbe described the sefer. So the chassid of the Trumas Hadeshin was the Rebbe's menhagim. He wrote there that the mitzvah was not to say thank you for shalach manas. Why? It's a mitzvah. You don't say thank you. I don't know how you do that, but you get one of these fancy baskets, so you don't say thank you. The only eight I could say is, the minig is a mezok nishta dank. That might be the only eight. What are you supposed to send? You're supposed to send 2 foods to 1 person. You don't have to send more than 1 person, unless you want to do, like I said, the meaning of laharbais. Man to man, woman to woman. A family shalach manas is not you sending shalach manas. Each individual and each individual kid. The Rebbe made a big hisoiris in the yudz and the chafs that the mitzvahs of Purim are very easy mitzvahs to keep. Not making a Megilah. Shalach manas and matanas l'vyonim, the Rebbe said, are very easy to keep, and even kids could do it. And even if there's something that they deal with, the Rebbe pushed it very, very strongly. The Rebbe gave practical examples: 2 pennies, a cookie, a candy, a couple of letters of the Rebbe. The Rebbe pushed very strongly that kids should do shalach manas I'm not telling us. So we get our kids to come to shul to disturb us for Kriyas Megilah. Our kids all have a list of all the kids in their class that have to send Shalach Manas to. But they also have to remember Matanas Le'yonim. Part of the Chiyuv Chinuch, again, that's something that they shouldn't forget. What's considered two foods? There's a big myth out there that two foods means two brachas. I have no idea who's the first person that explained it to this myth, but it's been around since I was a little kid, together with a bunch of other myths out there. There's no such thing, but there's such a thing about two different foods. It's not like this. But even if it has to be two different foods, it doesn't have to be two different brachas. You can take an apple and an orange. That's perfectly fine. Two foods, yeah. And the Rabbeim would send Meichel or Mashke, and the Rebbe would send 2 macholim and 1 mashke. So we use all the opinions, right? Side the Rebbe send food and liquid, and side 2 foods. So the Rebbe would send 2 foods and a liquid. And in Oval, the minig is, we mentioned before, shouldn't send to a lot of people, and should only send simple food, not a fancy shalach manas. And le'idach, we don't send to an Oval shalach manas. You could send, a person can send to the family. The Oval doesn't have to say, tell no, I'm not taking it. But at the minig is also, the Rebbe sent a message on Tafshin Chafei, the Rebbe sent a message to people to send shalach manas. Next mitzvah is Sudas Purim, Mishta V'Simcha. Before we go to Mishta V'Simcha, there's Megilah the Yom Tov in Purim. In the Megilah it says, one time it says the word Yom Tov, Mishta V'Simcha Yom Tov Mishloach Manas, another time it doesn't have the word Yom Tov. So it's interesting, one time it says Matanas Le'yonim, one time it says Matanas Le'yonim. And some Achronim want to say that when it was made as a Yom Tov, they couldn't do Matanas Le'yonim because they can't handle money on Yom Tov. But since it said, the Gemara said they were made as a Yom Tov, but they were not, Yidden were not Makabel it. Esther tried to push the Yom Tov agenda, it didn't go through. So, once it became Ois Yom Tov, we could do Matanas Le'yonim. That's a nice chap, no place like that. Al Pidin, Purim is not a Yom Tov. Even though I heard from a person, for a fact, that told me that I trust him, that he was by the Rebbe and Purim, and the Rebbe told him it's Yom Tov. So it is a Yom Tov on some level. The minig is that we treat it like a Yom Tov, it's not that's a Yom Tov. Al derech we say Gut Yom Tov, not Yom Kippur, it's not Shulchan Aruch, we need to say Gut Yom Tov. So people should remember to make it into a Yom Tov and have a meal, not Yom Kippur. Not to eat, have a meal. Eat, we're going to remember. So Purim is some level of a Yom Tov. L'mash when it gave to Melacha, so Al Pidin, Purim is not Asif Asis Melacha. Because we were not Makabel Yom Tov. But the minig became not to do malacha, and the minig is a binding minig. And so much so that it says if a person does malacha on Purim, he doesn't see a simah bracha, whatever that means. So like Al Rebbe described not seeing simah bracha, that whatever he's making off that malacha, he's going to lose from somewhere else. So that's okay. So I'm going to describe the definition of malacha here is less than chalamoid. Now, it's hard to tell people less than Chalamoid because nobody knows anymore that is Isra Malach and Chalamoid. According to many Rishonim and Deraisa, that's something that needs a lot of education. And that, like someone once said cleverly, that in the time when Yidden came to America, originally was Shemitah Shabbos. You couldn't have a job if you didn't teach, if you kept Shabbos. That was in the time when Yidden came to America. Now we've actually progressed, now in the time of Shemitah's Chalamoid. Person will close the store on Chalamoid, this is a bit... But yet there's something called chalamoid. This is less than chalamoid. The definition of malacha means a malacha that takes time. It's not the same as lamates malachas. It means something which is a 1, 2, 3, you let her turn on the light. You let her go into your car. Like I said, it's like chalamoid in that sense. But even when you're doing small malachas, you have to always remember not to be distracted from Simchas Purim. If it's a malacha which is l'tzoyrich Purim, l'tzoyrich Simchas Purim, for sure you'll let her do on Purim. Whenever you tell people about the malacha Purim, what's the malacha they think of right away? I'm allowed to take a haircut, I'm allowed to do laundry. But the emphasis is that laundry and haircut actually not considered malachas. Even chalamoid, the reason you're not allowed to take a haircut on chalamoid or do laundry, because they wanted to encourage people to take a haircut. Minadin, you would be able to take a haircut on chalamoid, because it's not considered a malacha haircut. Minadin, you would be able to do laundry on chalamoid. It's not considered a malacha. But Chazal didn't want a person to come into Yom Tov Shehu Menuvel with lang gehar, so they made a rule: you can't take a chalamoid, so you're stuck. You're gonna have to take before Yom Tov. So then people come to you and they say, "I partially didn't take before Yom Tov. Can I take now chalamoid?" And that was the reason why they made this rule. And the same with laundry. They didn't want a person to come into Yom Tov not with properly nice, beautiful clothing, so they made a rule: you can't wash clothing in chalamoid. But it's be'etzim, not a malacha. So Megilah, when it comes taka to Purim, it's not a malacha. Of course, the person's allowed to Definitely in a wash machine, there's no problem to do laundry. Haircut is l'tzoyrich Purim, it's a simcha for Purim. He's allowed to do that. Business is not called Melacha in this context. The person is allowed to do business. And the lashon is things that make money, simcha hiloi. Actually, it's simcha for the person. Yizar shaloi yimshach ba'vi is battle m'simchas Purim. You're going to get carried away with your online business, and you're going to forget about simchas Purim, so don't get carried away with it. Who has time for these kind of things. But yeah, I'll be that's okay. Part of what we do have it that's Yom Tov and get to Purim, min adin is mishter simcha, which means a person is not allowed to fast on Purim. Hesped v'tainis, now I'll give a hesped on Purim. And also there's a mitzvah of eating a simchas Purim. And the simcha is even greater than simchas Yom Tov. What does that mean, Sudas Purim? So by night is a minhag to have a meal by night, but it's not a chiv al pidin. It's a minhag brought on a Shulchan Aruch. Have a meal. Some places the minhag is dafka not to inflation Purim to show that it's not really, you're not yours to Sudas Purim, so they don't inflation it's not a Purim. But there's such a minhag, Toiv Leiv Mishra Tamid, but the chiv of Sudas Purim is by day. And our minhag is, the Ramah brings us minhag that we start the meal by day and we continue it into the night. We have an early mincha, and then we start the meal closer towards the end of the day. You're allowed to do the meal in the morning. Some people are makbid dafka do in the morning. They're afraid they're gonna, who knows what's gonna happen to them. They want to be eight in the morning. But al pidin, and our minhag is to do it towards the end of the day. Most of the meal should be by day. Whatever most of the meal means, it's not like what that means. Most of the meal means most in terms of time. Right, let it go for hours and hours. I mean, most of the menu should be done by day. But certainly you should make sure, if you want to do properly the way the halacha should be, we're makbid, even though it's al-pidin lav dafka, we're makbid to wash. Be considered a sudas purim. We're makbid to eat meat and to drink wine. Those three things you should do by day. And then you could carry on against the nacht. When you get to drinking tapping, and found the krepelach and the hamatash is a good idea to have by day, although it's not mak if you had it by day or by night. When you get to drinking, you want to ask something quick? No. So this is a question everybody asks: what's drinking? You're allowed to drink. You have to drink. You're not allowed to drink. What's together of drinking Purim? So the Mechaber says in Shulchan Aruch, the din Shulchan Aruch, Chai Dinish L'Sun V'Purim Ad L'Yada B'Nar Hamel Baruch Martha. That's the beginning and end of the Shulchan Aruch. In the Chuv, Pashat Tayt Shulchan Aruch, there's a big machlok of how to translate those words. They Chuv to drink on Purim until you know the difference between Ar Hamel Baruch Martha. Mechaber was a bit unfair over here. I'm allowed to say that. Because in the Beis Yosef, he wrote a whole machlokes, how he determined those words. Does it mean man to become shikr? No, it doesn't mean to become shikr. It means, come to Shulchan Aruch, left everything, I just wrote the halacha and didn't explain what he means. The Ramah, and we Ashkenazim, we follow the Ramah, says, Yesh oimim ein tzarech l'shtarka kol kach. So before you even go further, l'shtarka kol kach means you're not supposed to get drunk, but not kol kach. Yesh oimim, you have to get drunk kol kach. But then he adds, Rak, what should you do? Sheyishte yosim elimudai, which some people erroneously think means drink more than you learn. So you don't have to drink a lot. Yishte yosim elimudai means drink more than you normally drink. Megilah, you'll fall asleep. And will fall asleep, he will not do B'Sar Baruch Martha. That is the halacha. We, B'nai Yisrael, Yotzei B'Yad Ramah, Al Pi Din, Yotzei Ad L'Yada. What you're supposed to be doing is you drink a bit more than normal, you feel a bit more upbeat. How was Rav Hosner right? Shemargish hisreim misasimcha. He feels he drank more than normal, whatever. Drank a bit extra. And he falls asleep. Now, Chassidim are not looking for some cop out. I'll be Yotzei according to the Ramah, I'm already Yotzei. I want to do the mitzvah l'chatchila. There's a lot of days old, Ad L'Yada means kipshutah. But it's a bit risky to do the mitzvah kipshutah. On a number of levels. I remember the Rebbe once commented, I was seeing when the Rebbe said it, it appears that in Brooklyn this year they did Ad L'Yada through sleeping. They did the misnagdish version of Ad L'Yada. So Al Pi Din, yes, there's definitely room to be Mehader, but there's exceptions. There's some people that are potter from drinking or are not allowed to drink. Doesn't include sounds. Women are patur from the mitzvah of Ad L'Yada. Children are patur from this mitzvah. I know the Gira is into the children should drink wine on Purim, but they're part of the mitzvah. Bachrim, well, any Bachrim, the Rebbe many times spoke against Adliyada by Bachrim. And not only that, the Rebbe spoke about people that are under 40, also that is Gzeira on Purim. Now there's a whole Torah's Lakshan that floats around every year. Purim comes out that the Rebbe one year said this and one year said like that. It's totally inaccurate, to put it mildly. Because the Rebbe never said that the Gzeira doesn't apply on Purim except for once. The year that he made the Gzeira. And listen to what he said. So the Rai that people bring this, because the Rebbe once said, and Tavshim Mem Tes, I remember when the Rebbe said it. On Psharis, on Heterim, Shvav Lad Kapshutay. So the Rebbe didn't specify, I wasn't talking about Bachrim. Why did he have to specify that? He was talking Bechlal. The Gzeira the Rebbe made. The Rebbe didn't say, Ich nehme ab the Gzeira. There were certain times the Rebbe said he's taking off the Gzeira. There was, I remember right now, at least 3 times the Rebbe said once by Fabrengen, Shabbos, Bereishis, Tavshim, Chavtes. Look for the Rashi Sikha of today, we're taking off the Gzeira. The Rebbe is taking off the Gzeira. He said that people should Mekayim. He's talking to the people that are supposed to be Mekayim. The first time the Rebbe made the Gzeira was Tavshin Chav Gimel, and the Rebbe said then that this applies all the time except for Purim. I'm not mixing it for 2 reasons. One, because by the time Purim comes, this was Parsha Shmini. This Purim is like a full year afterwards. The Sheikh will already be here. And the second reason is because Purim is supposed to be the Matzah Ad Liyada. If the person is a Matzah Ad Liyada, he wouldn't even think about drinking mashke. That's what the Rebbe said. Ad Liyada, the way that meant over here, Beruchim Sinyanim. He wouldn't even think. That's what the Rebbe said. Later, when the Rebbe started pushing the Gzeira, this is the first time. The Rebbe said the Gzeira is Sai Purim, Sai Simchas Torah, Yubis Tams Chafei. A bunch of times the Rebbe said that. So the Rebbe's Gzeira, this is a double pashat by me, and like I said, I've seen literature, otherwise, and not one of them, the Rebbe is being Mesiachas of the Gzeira, Mesiachas the Shulchan. The Rebbe's Gzeira of Mashka applies on Purim as a double pashat. Of course, people are looking for a heta for the Rebbe's Gzeira. I wonder why they're looking that. The other people that are potter from the mitzvah of Adliyada, people that it's not healthy for them, either dangerous or even not healthy. If they're not healthy, if it's not healthy for them to drink, they're potter from Adliyada. Then there's Pais Convention, or somebody that as a result of Simchas Purim is going to come to be Mezalzel Be'ez a mitzvah. For example, he's going to miss out benching, he's going to miss out Meidah, it's a Krishma. Then he's also potter from drinking. Now he potter, then he shouldn't drink. The drink is not there to take away. Now, people know themselves if they're capable or not capable. Some people are capable of drinking, and drinking a lot. Kemat ad liyada also. And still, they'll make sure to bench, they'll make sure to do all other mitzvahs. Because some things I'll never forget. Yeah, the shaila is, do you say, it's a mitzvah patam na mitzvah? Since he's oiskim mitzvah ad liyada, and he started beheter, no, so now I'm drinking. Later's going to happen later. But it looks like the person didn't take that argument. The other time when they say a person shouldn't drink, if he knows it because that's going to cause an aveda b'irav l'chaveda, he's going to be mevayir someone else, he's going to be mazik someone else. Okay, it's not so simple because if a person is mazik someone else on Purim, there might be shtikl heter. It says if a person is mazik someone else mitzat simchas Purim, could be spatter from paying. The Rebbe, however, once spoke about this, and the Rebbe said that some people have abused this halacha. Side that they used it at before Purim also. Side they said that because it says in Mazik Simchas Purim, that means that they're allowed to be part of Kachanoshim, Shakranim, Mekavim Lashon Hara, Litzonim, Chas V'Shom. I mean, Lashon the Rebbe uses a very sharp Lashon, and none of those things take away the fall out of the way because it didn't not being that if a person is Mazik, the halacha being Mazik the Simchas Purim is a b'di'evet the Gedin. A person it wasn't a Simchas Purim, and it wasn't because he wanted to be Mazik the other person, it was Takim Simchas Purim. And he was Mazik, then it's a machlokes if he has to pay or not. So we'll take him to the Torah, and in the Beis Din he'll bring a toyin, and the toyin will say, one second, it's halacha Mazik Simchas Purim. And the other toyin will bring the Yom Shloim that says that nowadays nobody's doing it because of Simchas Purim. And they'll fight it out. Fine. That's in Dinei B'di'evet, that's not a Din L'chatchila. No, Simchas Purim, no, let's go. So the Rebbe once spoke with strongly about this. The Megilah, if somebody knows that if they drink, this is what happens when they drink. Nichnas yain yotza soid, and for some reason that's their soid. The taka shouldn't be drinking. Then Avliyat doesn't apply over there. Interesting that the Rebbe had a mini every single Fabrengen, almost every single Fabrengen. What was the regular announcement the Rebbe always made? The Yalom Daf Machen Abracha Achreina. Stam Zicha Machen Abracha Achreina. The Rebbe is like the Gab in the shul, right? Then has to make announcements about B'nai Chachamim. It's like the Rebbe's job. The Rebbe decided, took upon himself a job. I don't think any of the Rebbeim did it. I don't know any Rosh Yeshiva, Rebbe, Rav in the world that does it. The Rebbe took on, and the Rebbe said, where did he get it from? From the Ramah. And what did the Ramah do on Purim? Not one, there's like about 5-6 fabrics where the Rebbe spoke about this Ramah. The Ramah on Purim would dress up and go to people's houses. He was the Rav in Shtat. And he would remind people to go daven Ma'ariv Bizmana. Because he was worried what's going to happen on Purim. So the Rebbe said he took from the Ramah the idea to remind people to make a bracha chayim. So it's important with all the Simchas Purim, which takas should be ad liyad b'livul, not to forget the obligations, the regular obligations that we have, including mitzvahs Ma'ariv Bizmana, which, like we said earlier, means you have to say Krishma at least before Chatzos. Okay, they changed the clock, so it's 1:05. By then you should be saying Krishma. Yeah.
You're allowed to daven while the person's drunk. He's allowed to daven.
Oh, so there's a whole set of halachas about that. Al Pidin depends. If he's Yochalam B'fnei Melech, ain't Yochalam B'fnei Melech. But there's a Shosi and a Shikr. And then a Shikrus Shaloi. Shikrus Shaloi, Pam should know what he's doing. If a person is so if a person is in a stage that is ain't Yochalam B'fnei Melech, and I'll tell you what that means, Kipshutei. That I don't know anybody who's Adli Yad Kipshutei. But I've never met him yet. Looks like the mashka over here is not good quality. But Ein Yochalam is very simple. The Rebbe passes by, and he'll start hacking and trying to run the Rebbe. If that's the kind of shikkas he has, then tefilosei te'eva or ke'ilu oived avodah zarah, and he has to daven again. He has to daven again. Obviously not then. If he's so sick, he's going to daven again and again and again anyhow. We're talking about Kshiyasu Yeden and Olav. Huh? Yeah, but then you run into a problem on listen. But what's that, baby? You lie on that bench and do what the Rebbe did. What did the Rebbe do? The Rebbe had a student earlier, finished. The Rebbe spoke about this more than once. The Rebbe spoke many times. Why do you have a Fabrenga and Matzah Purim at 9:30? Purim's over. What's the point? So the Rebbe said that an Ad Liyad is Madrigas. So mainly, even though we reach one level of Ad Liyad, now we can reach a high level of Ad Liyad. And he didn't mean Ad Liyad Shikras. Because by the Rebbe's Fabrenga, B'derech Klal, most people were interested in hearing what the Rebbe says, not what they have to say. Unless they were one of the people that volunteered. There was one time the Rebbe asked for someone to volunteer Ad Liyad. There was a certain individual who volunteered, and the Rebbe was unhappy that he volunteered. He's not the Rebbe expressed himself a bit about it. But after the Rebbe was asking someone, I'll be nice, I'll help the Rebbe out, I'll volunteer. So the Rebbe finished early, very early, and it came down 9:30 when some in the earliest was 9 o'clock. And why can't you might have finished the meal and David might have? Yeah, if you might have meal the meal, then you have a problem. All this it's better not to do that. So the Rebbe spoke about this once about the Tzach Shalach Manas. I'll stop right now for questions anyhow, because we can David might have seen anyhow talking about might have. What time is it now? We have a few minutes and I will take questions now. Pretty much finished what I was going to say. Then he gave to your question. The Rebbe spoke Sikha about that, I think it was Tzach, some organization prepared Shalach Manas, and the Rebbe complained that the Shalach Manas were not okay al Pidin. Because each Shalach Manas has to be at least a Kazayis, the Rebbe said, or L'chol HaPach is both together Kazayis. He didn't say anything about if it's drink, if it should be a Revis, the Rebbe didn't say that. Mistar B'Loim L'chayr, if it's food, it's a Kazayis, and if it's drink, it should be a Revis. Maybe the both, the Rebbe didn't say that. But apparently that's Pashas. I can tell you what the Rebbe said, that they should each one be a Kazayis, or L'chol HaPach is both. Now there are places that say it should be more than that. And the Rebbe was talking just about the bare minimum, but at least it should be a Kazayis.
The liquid, two liquids, two drinks.
Yeah, you are going with 2 drinks again. The minig is either Michael or Mashko, if you want to do what the Rebbe is, just to be Mahadir, to do 2 Machalam and a Mashko, because some people say you're not here to with drinks. If you didn't, you are here to with drinks.
Is anyone besides the Aruch HaShulchan who holds 2 drinks here? Is anyone besides the Aruch HaShulchan who mentions 2 drinks?
The Gemara mentions it. What do you mean?
2 drinks. Does it talk
The Gemara mentions 1 drink. What's the difference? If 1 drink is good and 2 is also good, what's the difference? The Gemara mentions drinks and Sefer Menhagim mentions drinks. So now if we yoytze 1, why should you be yoytze with 2?
For the meal, you wash right before Shkia. You wash right before Shkia.
So I said before, I don't know if you were here before, that you're supposed to, you should have a roiv asuda b'yoyim, at least the key components of the meal, which is the bread, the meat, and the wine, you should have before Shkia.
If you wash it,
I'm not going to say you're not Yotze. The truth is, it's almost impossible not to be Yotze Sudas Purim. Let's say a person ate Sudas Purim and he threw up the whole thing. And let's say we follow the opinion that you're not Yotze if you throw up. But he didn't eat anything else throughout the day. You're not mechuyev to have pas for Sudas Purim. That's why if you don't say Al Nismi, you don't have to bench again. Lechatchili should have pas, lechatchili should have basi, should have basar behema, all night, krepelach and wine and everything. But to be Yotze Sudas Purim, what do you mean? He ate. He didn't eat anything throughout the day. He didn't eat a hamatash throughout the day. So yeah, if you want to do the way it should be, you should wash before Shkia and Chilul Rei. There's machlokes about that, and there's some misconception out there that since we're Lubavitch Chassidim, for us it means mashka, not wine. But the Rebbe said a few times, there's a lot of rayas that it means wine. Rashi says in the Gemara, "L'sumah l'shtaker b'yayin." But for Rashi, there's no raya because he's mentioning yayin as an example. It could be other mashkois. But the Rebbe mentioned beferish by Fabrengen, the shit of Rabbi Yosef Yeshaya Braun, and the Rebbe said beferish alamates Fabrengen. They should say l'chayv dafka wine. So definitely should be mad to do dafka wine. And then after you had your wine, you can drink as much other mashka. You can even mix the two together also if you dafka let's.
But it's like money from Atanas Gainim, like you don't give it to that person that day. You put it aside.
You are right. I mentioned before. It says if a person b'makom she'ein ani mitzuyim, so in Shulchan Aruch, in the Grace of Shulchan Aruch, makom she'ein ani mitzuyim, she put it aside and be mezakef, and then they can get it later.
Is there a market for the minute of being we have a shliach to be on the other?
The Alpidin in Shulchan Aruch is your clear. So there's a Yid that wrote to the Rebbe this question. A Rav wrote to the Rebbe, where did the Rebbe get this from? That he sent him making a shliach to do Ad Liyada, and the Rav wrote that he found up some makar, and the makar is from I think it was Kiddush Victor Tzarfati, and one of the Rishonim from the Saga that were printed. They bring such a meal that one person would drink it. So the Rebbe said he never meant to be moisi. He meant. It's a long letter. That's one of the answers that Rebbe gives. He meant that b'derech klal, if one person's ad liyada, he makes the whole place happy. He didn't mean the ad liyada in this sense yotza. And then the Rebbe said had a hakila b'chlal. There's a din of mitzvah b'gufa, shlichus doesn't help. Okay, but what if a person can do the mitzvah b'gufa? Is there a mile and a shlich doing it? And the Rebbe left it with that question. You have a hakila? Mitzvah b'gufa, shlich doesn't help. You need to do it yourself. What if a person can do mitzvah b'gufa? Is there any plus in getting the shlich? So the Rebbe doesn't bring that in that letter, but it's interesting because Rebbe Aaron Belzer had a very interesting minhag that he didn't sleep in the sukkah, so he said a shlich to sleep in the sukkah for him. So maybe he held, like the Rebbe says here in this letter, that at least a person can, at least let someone else do it. But the Rebbe said he doesn't mean shlichus in the regular sense of the word.
If somebody's you just say Shema.
You could say you don't have to say Shema before Chatzos. Shema has to be before Chatzos. You want to be machmir even Ma'ira? Okay, it's definitely better to bench. What's the in to continue? Because you want to have the in of continuing the whole night.
I'm saying, is there a Indian to say Shema with Ma'ira?
There's an Indian Megilah to say Krishna Baruch Hu every day. Every single day, every morning, which nobody does. Al Pidin, you're supposed to say Krishna Baruch Hu Bismana. Right? That's what it says in Shulchan Aruch. And by Netzachama also, before Netz. But, so that same thing applies for Shofar Ma'ariv. And we actually do that every single night for Ma'ariv. We daven Bismana, right? We don't do like people that they daven Ma'ariv early and they say Krishna again later. Because we want to daven Ma'ariv Bismana. So the same Bismana goes for beginning of, like, early Shabbos. We don't want to do early Shabbos because we want to say Krishna. We want to daven Ma'ariv Bismana. So the same thing applies to the end Zman, which better to do Krishna Baruch Hu says. Definitely better. Are you mechuyev to? No, you only mechuyev to say Shema. But like I said, what would be the advantage of not stopping the meal, daven Ma'ariv? The only chesed is you're afraid that Fabring will fall apart. No, to be doiche Fabring, and Fabring is doiche everything. Almost everything. Yeah. There's a famous Bart Maksim, there's certain things you don't do by Fabring, you don't bench up in the Zumim, and you don't make a bracha achrei on your spot. None of the things means kipshutai. What it means is, you have to be careful not to disturb a chesed from Fabring. So, if you want to be machmir, you try to do it in a way that doesn't disturb.
What bracha do you say if you're reading Megilah for a woman who didn't hear yet, and you heard already?
The Shmaya.
The Shema Megilah?
Shmaya Megilah. Or the Shmaya Mikra Megilah for the Any other questions?
You say it, she says
If she could say it, better she should say it.
Say bracha. The Shema Megilah.
Shmaya Megilah.
Why would they do learning Megilah just for kids?
The Gilachina or the Gilachina?
Yeah.
Let them make it up. But you gotta find a kid that's a Gilachina means he can hear the whole Megillah. Even 13-year-olds have a hard time with that.
Once the kids talk to two different aniyim, so you give them one push to them, Kill Chabad, it's two different aniyim.
But you don't know if your money will go to two different aniyim. Shati say yes, breda and breda.
You can't sell an asset to two different.
If they can actually take the money and give it to one ani, how do you know? But if a pale will be split into two aniyim, so it's no problem.
How do you know they're knocking the actual nickel that you put in the push pit? Shabbos.
You should really give it to two then.
What if you get a check and the check is not cash to the person?
You get it, say that's no problem.
Yeah, even though he didn't make
Yeah, you answer with the check. Fine, okay, we have the matter. It's true, that's okay.